I'm going to blend in the edges very, very gently. This is my round brush. It's really small. And I just found the shapes. I'm going to start blending the colors. And that's how I work with everything. If you've read any of the tutorials at all, I talk about finding shapes you know. So you're not just like looking at a giant mass of hair and trying to figure it out. Just start finding things that you know. I find these shapes in the middle. And I'm going to start painting them in. And I think that color might actually be a little too light for what I wanted to do. So I'm going to add some yellow over top of it, just right on top. And since I have so much extender on there, it's actually just blending all together, if you can see that. I'm going to bring my camera in close so you can see what I'm talking about. And I only do the lighter bits towards the top, where the most of the light would be hitting. And just define the chunks in here. Go right over here. Get really in close and show you that. Painting in between the brown lines that I have. And I'm just blending. And this is where the back and forth sort of starts too. I'm not going to work on the whole hair all at once. I'm going to kind of work in stages of the hair. So I'm working the top, the middle, and the bottom because the hair is so long. I'm going to go ahead and add some of the lighter color now. A lighter white. And I make sure to work this color into both sides of the top of the hair, into the crown and into the bangs area, so that one side isn't differently colored than the other side. And I am going to mix all of my colors for the hair together. So I'm going to use my burnt umber, and I'm going to mix it with my yellow ochre to shade again. And I'm going to mix the Titan buff, or whatever your light color is, if you have the French vanilla or whatever. And then I'm going to go back and forth in the middle. If you can see that. I know it looks chunky now, but we're going to keep working and working on it until that, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see on camera. Sorry, I had to look at the laptop. This line here isn't a line, and this shape here isn't a shape. They all just look like hair, but it's a lot of back and forth to make it look real. And it's a lot of paint strokes versus just drawing or painting lines. And if your paint ever gets too wet on the canvas, then you just let it dry and come back. It sounds like a lot, it's really not. You just keep mixing the colors and blending them together. So it's still just your Titan buff, your yellow, and your two burnt sienna and burnt umber. Just go back and forth until you have the sections of the hair the way you'd like them. where there's a shadow, and then we're going to go back into the hair just a little bit, and I'm going to show that to you pretty darn up close. I'm going to do this side first so you can see it. This is where I start adding hair strokes. Just light ones. See how thick that line is too? You just want light ones that are kind of thick. You don't want to draw small little lines just yet. And this is the burnt sienna, and I am glazing this on top of that really wet yellowy white mixture because I want them to blend slightly, but I don't want the color to become one color. So I'm not going to work it into each other. I'm just going to kind of stroke the colors in together. Can you see that? I think so. Yeah, it looks good on camera. I'm actually holding the webcam for this one so that I can get in really, really close instead of painting really far away with the webcam on the tripod. So I'm sorry if it's shaky. I don't have the... I just forgot what I was saying while I was blending my colors. Sorry guys, that happens. I was going to say I don't have the steadiest of hands while I was blending colors. Isn't that hilarious? I forgot what I was talking about. This is a light white, and we're going to keep going back. I'm going to try to do just a few brush strokes of the lighter color on top of the darker color that I just did. That's going to give it a lot of contrast. I was trying to think of a more basic way to teach this to you guys, but then I didn't really think you guys would want to learn like a really super basic way to do hair. You can stop whenever you want too. If you don't want to do all the back and forth in the hair, you can stop at any layer and call it a day. I could spend almost all my time of my painting just doing the hair too, especially when it's long. This is burnt sienna again. And again, it's just the back and forth that I said I was going to do a lot of. Just painting paint stroke after paint stroke after paint stroke into other colors. And so if you think about the hair in just 3 layers now, as we're painting, like the painting process, we did a base, this would be the middle, and then we're going to do a top layer as well. Even though there's a lot of little layers in between, the base was the burnt sienna, burnt umber, and then the yellow ochre. And then the middle steps are all the back and forth with the different paint mixes, making the lines and what have you. And then we're going to let it dry one more time. And we are going to do all the detail work. We're going to, that's when we start pulling out individual lines of hair. And if it looks funny to you right now, don't worry about it. It will look more like hair as soon as we do that step. And this adds a lot of dimension to your hair, these steps here. I'm pulling this down in the middle now because I did the top and I like it. And I'm doing the burnt umber. And if you can remember the steps you did, do them again. It's burnt umber. And this is the hair's gonna go a little bit more into shadow because it's curving in, if you see there. So I'm putting more burnt umber in there. In here too, it's gonna be kind of shadowy. And in here. And I'm using a teeny tiny brush for this, so I'm going to get a little bit larger of a brush. I grabbed the flat brush instead of a filbert. Pretend this is a filbert. If you can see too, I don't know if you can see those lines I just did. This is why I use a filbert. Look at that. Those are like squares. I'm not trying to paint a square. I was trying to blend my colors together. Let's get that filbert back in there. Blend those colors. Next. And now I'm going to take a step back and look at it. Middle to end. Excuse my hand in the shot. I'm going to add some more light colors down in this part, in the middle part that we were painting. And this is going to be yellow ochre, almost pure. It's got a teeny bit of the Titan buff on it. And I'm going to follow lines. If you can see that, that's all we're always doing. It's 1,000 lines on top of each other in the same direction, with varying colors and opacities of paint, basically. Oops, pull the colors down. I'm doing a long stroke, you guys can't see from the top, but I'll show you. Since you don't want everything to look like, you know, two parts, I'm still doing the same color, and I'm pulling it around and down. You see that giant yellow? And then just smooth it. See, my filbert is really good for blending colors. That's why I like it so much. Then you just blend. You see I'm just wiggling along the edge, just like I showed you with the nose in the live demo. So we're just going to wiggle along the edge to blend that color in. And I'm going to do it on the other side. And then I'm going to wiggle it in, because I don't want it to be too harsh of a line. You see that? I'll pull back some so you can always see down at the bottom is the bottom first layers of yellow and the burnt sienna and the burnt umber, not in the order obviously. And then as we go up, you see the middle. You see how the forms start to really thicken out and look like they're coming out more 3D. That's what we're going for. And now that I'm looking through the camera, I kind of see like over here needs a little more shadow. And that's how the hair is going to go for you too. This is going to be kind of a more loose tutorial, and it's either going to drive you absolutely bonkers doing the hair, or you're going to be like, oh, finally, I don't have to do something set in stone. There are 8 rules to painting hair. I can just kind of go back and forth and be relaxed about it, depending on your learning styles. So if you love it, thank you. If you don't love it, I'm sorry. Just relax and enjoy the process as much as you can without worrying about ruining it. So you're going to paint like 100 bad paintings. I haven't even gotten there yet. So you think about how many paintings you have to make 100 bad paintings. Even if you feel like you did 100 bad paintings in a freaking row, you've already made 100 paintings, so you are bound to have gotten better after 100 paintings. Unless you're a robot. No offense to any robots out there. I'm just painting the long line of the yellow and white that I did at the top down at the bottom. I'm going to do it on either side. And then I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to show you it all one more time. This part's getting a little messy. I'm going to clean it up with my brush. You see my fingers in there. I'm actually steadying the paper and the camera while I'm painting. Alright. So I got the brush strokes in both sides, all the way up. And it looks like to me right here, because of the highlight, looks like it's coming forward more. Does it look like to you? Can you see that? And then it's starting to recede some into the darker color. And that's just going to happen. Blending moments like that are going to happen. You can plan them out by putting the lighter color on top and fading it into a darker color. And that's what we're doing on the sides too. Lighter color in the middle, darker color on each side, making it look more round. And I think I'll show you that one more time down here on this side where it's not actually done yet. Okay, so we're gonna make this bit of hair look like it is coming forward, and this bit of hair look like it's receding using lighter colors. This is just Titan Buff and Yellow Ochre and some extender. We're going to paint it in the middle. And then I'm going to grab some of the burnt sienna off of my palette and paint it in the background. And then I'm going to blend the two together lightly right in the middle there. And then pull it back. So now it looks like this part is in shadow right here, and then this part is coming forward. And you can make that part come forward even more by adding lighter color on top. That's too much, but I have my trusty filter, so I'm going to blend it. You can see it's coming forward even more. And this is up to you if you're going to go back and forth like this a whole bunch. You might not want to. It might not be worth it to you to pick out every chunk of hair that you want to come forward and where you want it to recede. But your hair will look a lot more realistic if you do that with a couple of chunks of hair. Choose where they're going to come forward, choose where they're going to recede. I'm trying to get that on camera for you. You can see that. So now it looks like I've got just a few pieces of hair here. Got this piece, and this piece from the top. And then over here, I've got this piece and this piece, and kind of like this piece at the bottom looks like its own thing, even though it could be like curling away from you. There are more ways to define that curl if you'd like. If I want to say that this curl here is receding and this curl here is protruding, this one right here, I would have to darken this one just a little. So I just darken the inside of it, and it'll make the hair look like it's curling more. See it? I'm going to do the same thing on this side, so that all the hair doesn't look like it's like the same way or flat, even though I drew a bunch of wavy lines. I'm going to draw the dark part in the middle as the curl goes, and then right here too. I keep saying draw even though I'm painting. I do that. And then I'll put some dark up here too. It'll look like it's curling more. I'm trying to show it to you, but it's really wet. Doesn't really look like much up close, huh? When we pull back, you see it all becomes part of the hair on the portrait. And I'm going to put it all together. I was trying to hold her in my lap instead of on the table so I would have more control over everything. You see the laptop's getting in the shot. That's hilarious. So you can see that. The next part we have to do is the lightest lights and the darkest darks, just like on the face, and I can do that on the hair. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that after she dries. I'll see you in about 20 minutes. There's a lot of extender on that.